Hey there, it's Haplin, and in this module, we're going to be going over some overview and positioning and really just trying to answer the question more generally, why should everyone be interested in implementing an AI social media handler? Now, in order to answer that question, I want to actually take a step back and talk about a big problem that a lot of small businesses experience. This is a problem known as the leaky bucket. So let's talk about what it means to have a leaky bucket. Well, step one is that businesses pour a lot of resources, time, energy, and money, of course, into trying to build up their sales funnel, into increasing their traffic, especially on social media. Now, specifically on social media, this takes a couple of different forms. First of all, businesses pour a lot into their post management, organic content, right? They either have employees or they outsource to an agency, but they spend a lot of money and invest a lot just on the content itself. And beyond just the content itself, they also invest into things like engagement analytics, tools and services that help them understand their engagement. Some try to invest in like influencer partnerships or headhunter programs so that they can expand their reach that way. And there are even more, but in general, businesses are just clamoring to try to get noticed any way they can on social media. However, even when these strategies work, the best thing that they produce is really just engagement, views, comments, likes, etc. And that's just not cutting it. They don't have the tools to actually drive movement down a sales pipeline to get folks all the way to the sale. And the result is what we call a leaky bucket. You can see based on this graph on the right, a lot of businesses look like this where, they struggle enough just to get views, but even once they do get views, it's like a bucket that they've poured full of water, but then when they take the pail back home to go fill their sink or use that water, whatever, it's all slipped through the cracks. A lot of really good engagement has not translated to bottom line revenue, bottom line results. So that's what we really mean when we talk about leaky bucket syndrome. And a lot of businesses are experiencing this, most in fact. However, an AI social media handler fixes this problem. In its most basic form, an AI social media handler is just an AI employee, sales rep, agent, whatever you want to call it, that's going to handle every conversation, every inbound message on Facebook and Instagram DMs. And this AI employee is going to do everything we need it to do, everything from answering questions, sharing resources, helping leads get engaged with the business, actually converting them into leads, rounding out their contact info. So lead generation, they can help them grant offers, take advantage of promotions, or acquire lead magnets. And furthermore, it can qualify those leads, book appointments, and yes, even make sales for us. Different businesses may not need it to do all of these different things, or it may not be appropriate depending on your price point and some other, specifics of your business, but in general, it can help conversationally drive pipeline movement. The result is that the business goes from this leaky bucket problem looking like this to something more looking like this, with more reasonable conversions at each stage and something meaningful happening at the end of that process, i.e. sales and revenue. And there's even more we can do with HighLevel that we'll talk about in just a minute, but at its most basic form, just having an AI employee to manage all the conversations and help people engage with the business on social media, that's it. That's the value proposition. Makes sense, right? Simple enough. Really easy implementation, really easy value proposition for a business. Like I said, we'll talk about even more in just a minute, but I do want to cover the exact cost so that we have an understanding of what it costs to be able to set up an AI employee, what we should be charging for it, and the value that it's going to provide to our business or our clients' businesses. So the cost of the AI employee or the AI social handler, it uses a feature called Conversation AI inside of HighLevel. There's two ways to pay for Conversation AI. You can either pay as you go for 2 cents per message, or you can get unlimited monthly for $97. Technically, on paper, the break-even point is 4,850 messages per month. So if your AI social media handler is going to send more than that, then you will actually save money just by going unlimited. If it's going to send less, then technically you save money just paying as you go. But I do want to make sure that you're aware that that $97 a month level unlocks the full AI employee suite of features inside of HighLevel. It's not just conversation AI. You'll also get unlimited AI funnel building, unlimited content AI, copy as well as images, unlimited voice AI, that's inbound calls, live voice AI for inbound calls to any phone number, as well as AI review replies. Every time you get a new review, having AI respond to those reviews and making sure that the business is perceived as being present online, particularly on Google. That's super important. And the AI workflow helper. So those are all of the different AI features that you get full on unlimited for the $97 per month. So depending on what's going to be best for your business or for your client's business, what of those AI features you want to use, regardless of the break-even point just for conversation AI, it may still be worth it to go unlimited for the sake of getting to use all those other features. And lastly, if you're watching this in the summer of 2025 when this playbook was released, then you have access to the full AI employee, that $97 per month level of AI employee features. You have access to that completely for free. We are currently in the summer of AI, which means we're just giving it away. So I highly recommend you at least start there. You can always downgrade. You can always go back to pay as you go. No sweat. So now that we understand the cost of conversation AI and the AI employee inside of HighLevel, just in terms of the tech, now we get to ask the question, is it really worth it? And we can actually answer this question just by doing a little bit of hypothetical math. This is a nice sales exercise, and it's not the only way to go about justifying the value of a sale, but a very beginner, easy way to dip your toes into the water of how to think through your value proposition is to ask the question, if this feature or if this service helped you make one more sale per month, how would that look like? Like, what impact would that have for the revenue of that business, right? I come from the fitness world. I used to sell memberships in a gym, so that's an industry that I know really well. You can do the same exact kind of thought exercise for your own industry or for your own business, but I'll just go over the gym as an example. So let's just say a gym membership costs $100 a month in MRR, monthly recurring revenue. That's a pretty low price point. And we know that there's generally about a 6 to 12 month retention for a good sale. And let's just take the bottom number. Well, LTV here we can see is 600 to 1200, right? That's just $100 a month times the retention. But we like to use the most conservative numbers here. In fact, one sale per month, that's already a very conservative number. Some personal trainers or some higher end fitness, CrossFits, etc., they'll charge a lot more than $100 per month. And some of the ones that are really good at retention will do a lot better than just a year. They'll keep their members 2, 3, 4 years. And of course, many businesses using this service will make more than just one extra sale per month than they otherwise would have. They'll make 2 or 3 or more. But for the sake of adding confidence to our evaluation, adding confidence to this thought exercise, let's stack the deck against ourselves and say just one sale, just $100 a month, just 6 months of retention. It's just $600 a month of value. That's like the lowest of the low in terms of conservative guesses. So we take that $600 a month and ask, what would the business be willing to pay to make one more sale a month? AKA, what would the business be willing to pay to get an extra $600 a month back? And I invite you to do this thought exercise for yourself. Use conservative numbers from your industry or an industry that you're familiar with, or ask a friend, or just guess. Pause this video and ask what you think a business would be willing to invest in to get that kind of result. The answer to that question is what you should start out charging for this service. If you plan on reselling, or if you're just thinking through the value of the service for your own business, whatever it is, I'm curious to see what you come up with. So pause this video right now. I'll give you 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. There are people in our HighLevel community who sell this service from anywhere from $197, $297, all the way up to $497 per month. Some go even more expensive than that. Plus, depending on which plan you're on in HighLevel, if you have access to the SaaS mode features and you can put your client on SaaS mode, you have the ability to rebill them for the data. So whether you're doing 2 cents per message pay as you go or 97 unlimited, you can actually pass that on to your client as well. And some people do that. Some people eat the cost. There's a bunch of different ways to think through that. But this is what we see successful entrepreneurs, successful resellers of HighLevel doing in our community right now. And I just want to pause and say, if you did the math and found yourself in a similar place as I did, valuation of about $600 per month, you may not be able to charge a full $500 for it. That's not probably quite enough to get a business owner out of bed just to have done the deal and get everything set up, etc. $497 might be a little bit more of an advanced price point, with takes a little bit more sales chops and more justification, but also many business owners have found their way into raising their prices based on the real lived experience of the value they provided. Remember, we were using the most conservative numbers possible, but say we're in the roofing industry where a new roof costs $10K and they're making one more sale per month and getting another $10,000 a month that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. That's where you can really start to see how making one more sale a month is a really powerful sales proposition. But anyways, all of that aside, there's another huge benefit to this AI social media handler offer for resellers and for folks looking to use this in their own businesses, and that is this is just the entry point. Once we have an AI sales rep rocking and rolling with conversations and we've got everything set up and it's providing that value to that small business, we have a bunch of options for ascension and using HighLevel in more creative ways along the lines of the same sales pipeline. So we don't have to create other marketing initiatives or get them to believe in some other channel or whatever. We keep them on social media. The business is already invested in social media. They're already seeing value from our AI social handler on social media in their conversations, etc. And it's all in line with a social media strategy that the business is already invested in. So, for example, we can take over some of those top of funnel activities we were talking about that contribute to the leaky bucket in the first place. We can take over and do great work with the organic content using HighLevel Social Planner. Similarly, we can take over paid ads on social media using HighLevel's Ad Manager. This is all inside of HighLevel. We can actually manage, launch, schedule, etc., do everything that we need to do with Facebook, Instagram, and Google ads from inside of HighLevel. If a business is trying to do an affiliate program or do partnerships or ambassadors or whatever, HighLevel's got a full affiliate manager, which allows us to set up partners, create affiliate links, do all the tracking and crediting and everything like that. That's just a straight up tool. That's a service they'd be paying X amount a month for some other SaaS in order to achieve for themselves. Then there's the bio strategy. Whenever somebody visits the bio, usually there's a link that's going out to their home site or to a Linktree page. We can take over managing that with HighLevel's funnel and website builder. And then moving down funnel from the AI social handler, what happens after that conversation, after the lead gen point, we can take over other conversational channels super easily. SMS, WhatsApp, email, all these outbound direct marketing channels HighLevel does fantastic job with its conversations. And then beyond that, we have appointments using HighLevel calendars, which we'll actually learn a little bit more about later in this playbook. If you want to use your AI social handler to actually be booking appointments, that's very much in the cards, and HighLevel has a whole calendar suite, super helpful for being able to facilitate that. And then of course, even going all the way to the end with sales. HighLevel's got its own entire payments platform where you can integrate a processor, sell digital products and services, access to communities, you can do e-signatures, recurring invoices, basically make whatever kind of sale you need to make. So unfortunately, we're not going to be going super deep into all of these topics since they branch out into using different high-level features, but these are all addressing different parts in a sales funnel that a business that wants to succeed on social media, any business that's doing business on social media, is already invested in. They need to address these different steps of this pipeline. HighLevel's got all the tools to help at every single stage. And the good news is that for at least most of these topics, even though they're outside of the scope of this playbook, they have their own entire playbook. So I highly recommend you check out the university and or our other educational resources if you're particularly interested in branching out to learn more about these. I highly recommend getting through this playbook first, the one that you're already watching. Stay focused, follow me until the end, but then come back and revisit this. Put a little bookmark here so that you know once you get a handle on the AI social media handler, how to implement that in the business, how to provide value with that to a business, you kind of have an idea of where you can go next to continue to provide more and more value to that business. All right, that brings us almost to the end, but I do want to make you aware of one more thing, particularly for folks who are looking to build a business around reselling this service to other businesses, especially if you are a beginner, if you are new to this, if this is a brand new venture for you, white labeling HighLevel and reselling it, you are in the right place. Similarly, if you're planning on using this for your own business, but then you may end up reselling it to other folks in your network, other similar businesses. If you're embedded in an industry and have a lot of connections, that may make a lot of sense depending how it goes for you. You might be treating your business like a pilot for potentially turning your business into an agency that resells this service to other businesses. That's a very, very common tale in the high-level community, and for good reason. At any rate, the point I'm making is that for anyone who desires to resell these services and wants a head start on understanding how to position it, how to talk about it, how to approach other businesses, the whole client acquisition problem, we have solutions to that problem that we've provided to you in this module. Beneath this video, you will find links to various entrepreneurial resources that are going to help you take the first steps toward acquiring your first client. This includes a full snapshot with website templates, follow-up sequences, sales pipelines, calendars, and checkout pages, everything that you need in order to use HighLevel in order to sell HighLevel. We also have AI employee prospecting templates, a sales approach, a white label group presentation deck that you can swipe and customize and use if you're going to approach like a local chamber of commerce or do any kind of a group presentation that you can then use to drum up conversations to potentially make some connections and have some opportunities. And there are other resources as well just to sort of point you in the right direction as you start your prospecting journey, which for many beginners can be very scary. But just a quick disclaimer with these resources is that they are not guaranteed, they're not a silver bullet. They are to help point beginners in the right direction based on what we see working in the community. We're not sales coaches. HighLevel is a software business, but the community is filled with highly successful entrepreneurs that we have learned a lot from. And so these resources are a sort of amalgamation based on what we've seen be really successful there. In general, when it comes to sales and client acquisitions, there are a lot of different approaches, scripts and strategies, etc. You may already have some chops from working in a certain industry and a preferred approach that you know that you're going to take. Different sales approaches are valid to different extents in different contexts and in different industries too. So just do what's going to work for you. Use these resources as you find them helpful, but don't feel like you have to stick to our script by any means. They're just there to provide whatever value you find in them. So now we have sufficiently answered the question, why AI social media handlers? What do they really do? What results do they achieve? And why is that so valuable? And now that you understand the general strategic value proposition of this AI social media handler, you're ready to actually start building it. So go ahead and move on to the next module and let's start diving in.